In this video, we will examine how to write the equation of a line. At the end of this lesson, you should be able to answer the question, how do I write the equation of a line using slope-intercept form? Up until this point, you've gone the other direction. You've been given an equation, and you have to find where the line falls in the coordinate plane. So we're going to switch directions now, where you'll be given different points, or the slope in a point, and you have to develop the equation that fixes all those points in the coordinate plane. So I've kind of narrowed this down to 4 different scenarios. The first case is the simplest. If you are given the slope and the y-intercept of a line, all you need to do is begin with y equals mx plus b and substitute your given values. M is your slope, and your y-intercept is -3, so the equation of this line is simply y equals 1/2 x minus 3. Remember that most lines have a y and an x unless it's a special case where it's vertical or horizontal. The second case is if you are given the slope in a point. I'm always going to begin with y equals mx plus b, and I'm going to plug in what I'm given. My slope is 1/2, but I don't know the y-intercept this time. But what I do have is an ordered pair, and remember ordered pairs are in the form of xy. So -6 is my y value, and 4 is my x. I don't know my b value, but I have a simple algebraic equation that I can solve to get b. So I do my calculations and subtract 2 from each side, and I get -8 equals b. I now have the 2 things that I need. So I write the equation of my line as y is equal to 1/2 x minus 8. I'd like to show you how you can check this on a graphing calculator. So the 5 buttons that control graphing are right under the screen. The y equals, window, zoom, trace, and graph. So if you click y equals, you will see all the different equations you can enter. I currently have an equation in here, so I'm going to clear this out and type in the equation that I just discovered. Y equals 1/2 x. The X button is next to your green alpha key. And that didn't work. Let me try that one more time. 1/2 x minus 8. I'm going to adjust my window, which controls how far left and right I can see. My x min and x max control left and right. It goes -10 to 10. My y min and y max -10 down and +10 up. I then hit graph, and this shows me the equation of the line I just discovered, which is neat, but even better than that is hit the trace button. Along the line you'll see the cursor, and at the bottom of the screen you can see different ordered pairs as I move the cursor. Now I was given that this equation was supposed to go through the point 4, 6, so after I hit trace, if I hit 4 and enter, I can see that it does indeed go through 4, -6, and I know it has a slope of 1/2. It's just a great way to confirm that you found the correct equation of the line. The third case is the most amount of work. It's where you're given just 2 points. And if you're given more than 2 points, this is still the case that you would use. You need to find both m, the slope, and the y-intercept. So I'm going to begin by calculating my slope. So m is equal to, I'm going to subtract my y values, -2 minus -4, over my x values, 2 minus -6, which results in 2 over 8, which reduces to 1/4. So I know my slope. Next I have to find my y-intercept. So again, I begin with y equals mx plus b. And what I do is I choose one of my given points, and it doesn't matter, choose whichever looks simplest to you. I'm going to choose to use 2, -2. So I'm going to put -2 in for y, the slope is 1/4, and x is +2. I don't know the b value, it's what I'm looking for. Do my calculations. 1/4 times 2 is 1/2. So then I subtract 1/2 from each side, and I get b equals -5 over 2. This gives me the equation of my line. I know the slope is 1/4, x minus 5 over 2. This is a great one to check on your graphing calculator. To confirm this, I just typed in the equation I discovered into my graphing calculator under y equals. Notice I entered my fractions in parentheses. I can keep my viewing window at negative 10 to 10, negative 10 to 10. I'm going to hit graph, and I'll see the equation of my line, which again is pretty cool, but in order to check, I hit my favorite button, which is trace, and I know it was supposed to go through negative 6, so I hit negative 6, enter, and I have a syntax error. Whenever you get that, if you select go to, it takes you to what you typed wrong, and I accidentally hit minus 6 rather than negative 6. So negative 6, enter. There I see it does go through negative 6, negative 4. And then I'm going to try 2, and I know it's supposed to go through 2, negative 2, and I see that it works. So I know I have the right equation of the line. Case 4 is if you're given the graph of an equation, and the simplest scenario is that you can just observe both the slope and the y-intercept by graphing, or by observation rather. So I count my slope, and I can see that my rise is going up 1, 2, 3 units, and right 1, 2. So my slope is 3 over 2, and my x and my y-intercept, well, that's where it crosses the y-axis, so it's plus 3. That's the easiest scenario. Sometimes it's a little bit more than that, where you're given a graph and you can't just observe where it crosses the y-axis. So in this scenario, you're going to be able to still count your slope. So I'm going to count down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So down 10 would be negative 10. And my run is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right 6. So my slope is going to reduce to negative 5 over 3. So the equation of my line is going to be y equals mx plus b, and I'm going to substitute. I'm going to plug in negative 5/3 for my slope, and I'm going to use either ordered pair or any ordered pair on the line that I can see. So I see an ordered pair at 1, negative 6, and that's the one I'm going to use. And I could use a different if I chose. So negative 6 equals negative 5/3 times 1 plus b, and I quickly solve for b. So I'm going to get negative 5/3 on the right, so what I have to do then is add 5/3 to both sides. And I'm going to get b equals negative 13 over 3. I leave my answer as an improper fraction, letting my calculator do the fraction calculations for me. So I get y equals negative 5/3 x minus 13 over 3. Negative 13 over 3 is negative 4.3 repeating, which matches where it is on my graph. Okay, so now you should be able to find the equation of a line in slope-intercept form and use your graphing calculator to make sure that you are doing it correctly.